Bruno Fernandes is standing in front of a room full of journalists, not to answer questions, not to defend his team, but because the entire football writing community in England just voted him the best player in the country, the first Manchester United player to receive that honour in 16 years. At the exact same moment, Benjamin Sesko is on a team bus heading to Sunderland. 24 hours ago, nobody knew if he would even be fit to travel. A heavy collision against Liverpool had raised serious fears, but he is there, on that bus, ready. And Michael Carrick, a man who walked into this club in mid-January with a squad sitting in the bottom half of the table, with no European football, with no confidence and no direction. He is now one result away from potentially securing third place in the Premier League. Third place with 2 games still to play. Everything is happening right now for Manchester United. The awards, the squad news, the transfer intelligence, the match that could define where this club finishes the season. And underneath all of that, a summer rebuild is already being planned quietly and seriously behind the scenes. This is not a quiet Friday for this football club. This is a defining moment, and every single piece of it matters. So let's get into it properly. Aurelien Tchouameni and Manchester United. The account Simply United posted the following, citing Fabrizio Romano. And I want to read this to you exactly as it was written, because the wording here matters a great deal. Quote, Manchester United love Aurelien Tchouameni and internally view him as one of the best midfielders in world football. However, Real Madrid currently see him as a key player both for the present and for the future. If at any point Real Madrid and Tchouameni decide to part ways during the summer, Manchester United will be there. The relationship between Manchester United and his agents is excellent, but at the moment, the door remains closed. End quote. Now let me give you my analysis on this. The language Fabrizio Romano is using here is extremely precise. He does not say Manchester United are pursuing Tchouameni. He does not say a bid has been made. He does not even say negotiations have started. What he is saying is that the interest is genuine, the relationship with the players' representatives is strong, and United are positioning themselves as the destination of choice if Real Madrid ever decide to move him on. That is a significant difference because it tells you something very important about how Manchester United are approaching this summer window. They are not going to overpay. They are not going to chase players who do not want to leave their clubs. They are identifying their targets, building relationships with agents, and waiting for the right moment. That is a structured and intelligent approach to recruitment. The situation with Tchouameni is straightforward. He is viewed as one of the best midfielders on the planet by the club's decision makers, but Real Madrid are not selling. Until that changes, this story is firmly in the category of a rumour. A genuine one, a well-sourced one, but still a rumour. Keep that in mind. Bruno Fernandes wins the FWA Footballer of the Year. The account Squawker posted the following, and again, I want you to hear it exactly as written. Quote, Bruno Fernandes is the first Manchester United player to be named the men's FWA Footballer of the Year since Wayne Rooney in 2009-10. Manchester United's official account posted alongside this, quote, goal scorer, assist provider, award winner, presenting the FWA Footballer of the Year for 2025-26. End quote. My analysis on this is not just an award, this is a statement. The Football Writers Association brings together journalists from across the country, people who watch every game, who cover every club, who are not emotionally attached to any one side. And they looked at every player in the Premier League this season, and they chose Bruno Fernandes. That tells you everything about the level he has been operating at. Think about what it takes to win this award as a Manchester United player in this particular season. This is a team that finished 15th last year. A team that started this campaign without European football. A team that changed its manager midway through the season. And yet one individual shone so brightly that the entire press corps looked past Arsenal, past Manchester City, past every other club and pointed at him. That is extraordinary. The last United player to win this award was Wayne Rooney in 2009-10. That was 16 years ago. That gives you the scale of what Bruno Fernandes has achieved. And with 3 games still to play this season, he still has the opportunity to add even more to an already historic campaign. Before we continue, I want to pause here for a moment because everything we are discussing today, the transfer targets, the squad updates, the match previews, all of it connects to a much bigger picture for Manchester United. This is a club in the middle of a transformation. And understanding every piece of news correctly is the difference between having a clear view of where this club is heading and being lost in the noise. If you want that clear view every single week, hit the subscribe button right now. Adam United Analyst is where you come for the full picture, not just the headlines. Ederson and Joao Gomes transfer update. The United Stand account posted the following, quoting Nath Salt1, quote, I spoke to somebody at Carrington the other day, and they said, yep, Ederson is back on the radar. As for Joao Gomes, United liked him earlier in the season, but the expectation now is he ends up at Atletico Madrid, end quote. The image shown is of Ederson, who currently plays for Atalanta, wearing their black and blue kit. My analysis. Two very different situations here that are being discussed together. Let me separate them clearly for you. On Ederson, from Atalanta, the phrase used is that he is back on the radar. That is important wording. It means at some point he was on the radar, then perhaps he was not, and now he is again. A source at the club's training ground has confirmed the interest is real. This is not speculation from the outside. This is coming from inside Carrington itself. That gives this considerably more credibility than a standard media link. On Joao Gomes, the situation is clear. United liked him earlier this season, but the expectation now, based on information from people close to the situation, is that Atletico Madrid will be his destination. So for anyone hoping United would make a move for him, the evidence currently does not support that happening. Two names, two very different outcomes. Ederson is a live target. Joao Gomes is for now pointing elsewhere. Rafael Leao, not a priority. The account United exclusive posted the following, again quoting Nath Salt1 from the Stretford paddock. Quote, Leao is not one. When you put it on people who would know these things that are in these meetings, they are not giving much on him or biting on Leao as a possibility. I do not think that left winger spot is as high on the list as the midfielders. End quote. My analysis. This is a story about what Manchester United are not doing. And those stories are just as important as the ones about what they are doing. Rafael Leao has been linked with a move to United repeatedly. But the reality for the club is that those links are not being backed up by anyone with actual knowledge of what is happening in those meetings at the highest level. The key phrase here is that the midfield is ranked higher in terms of priority. That makes complete sense when you look at the squad. The left wing position has Matheus Cunha operating there comfortably, with Patrick Dorgu available as backup. The midfield, by contrast, has genuine questions around depth and quality heading into a Champions League season. So the evidence suggests United will spend their resources in the middle of the park before looking at wide options. Leao remains an outstanding player, but it is now clear that he is not, at this moment, a genuine Manchester United target. Lisandro Martinez, mental strength and determination. The Manchester United Forever account posted the following, citing Ty Marshall of the MEN. Quote, a source close to Lisandro Martinez said the injuries had come at frustrating times for him because the lengthy layoffs occurred when he was playing well and felt an important part of the team. The centre-back feels he has become mentally stronger and more mature due to those experiences. While becoming a dad for the first time in March 2025 during the early weeks of his rehabilitation from a knee injury, gave him a different perspective and a sense of balance. People close to Martinez believe he has become even more driven since those injury layoffs. He is aware that part of his career has slipped by and is now determined to make up for lost time. He believes he has come out of his knee injury stronger and fitter than ever before, a point he is determined to prove. Martinez's action might again have been limited this season, but he was a key part of the team in the early weeks of Michael Carrick's reign, and his personality and leadership are appreciated by the 44-year-old and his staff. End quote. My analysis. This is a human story at the heart of a football story, and it matters far more than a lot of people will give it credit for. Lisandro Martinez has had his career disrupted repeatedly by injury at Manchester United, and there are certain players at a club where if they miss significant time, the team loses something beyond just their playing ability. Martinez is one of those players. What this tells you is that the people closest to him are seeing a different level of drive and hunger now compared to before. Becoming a father changed his perspective. Going through serious rehabilitation while adapting to a completely new chapter in his personal life shaped who he is today as a professional. That kind of experience either breaks a player or refines them. The evidence from those around Martinez suggests it has made him sharper, more motivated, and more determined than he has ever been. Michael Carrick clearly values him not just as a footballer, but as a leader in the dressing room. And heading into a Champions League campaign, that kind of character is going to be essential. Benjamin Sesko travels to Sunderland. The account United Truthful posted the following, citing Sully Talks and United District, quote, "Break it. Benjamin Sesko has travelled with the Manchester United squad to face Sunderland after fears of a heavy collision-fueled injury." End quote. My analysis. This is a significant update for the match against Sunderland. Sesko came off at half-time in the victory against Liverpool with a shin issue, and there were genuine concerns about whether he would be available. The fact that he has now travelled with the squad is positive news. It does not guarantee he will start, and the match preview suggests he remains a minor doubt. His presence in the squad travelling to the Stadium of Light gives Michael Carrick a decision to make an attack rather than having no choice at all. That is a far better position to be in. Tyler Adams and Manchester United's data department, the account Simply United, posted the following, quoting Nath Salt 1 from the Stretford Paddock. Quote, "United's data department love Tyler Adams. Anybody you speak to says he scores highly on this metric, and that metric, they are adamant that statistically the analytics show that he is really good and they have liked him for a while. He is one name that I do not think is going to go away until United get their business done. I'm not saying they will get him, but if he was the first one through the door, you would have people having meltdowns." End quote. My analysis. The reaction described at the end of that quote, the idea that some fans would have meltdowns if Adams was the first signing, tells you something important about the disconnect that can exist between what a football analytics department sees and what a general supporter base perceives. Tyler Adams scores at an elite level by statistical metrics the data people at Manchester United are not guessing. They have access to more information about a player's performance than any pundit or fan could imagine. When a club's entire analytics operation is aligned on a player, that is a serious signal. Now, the source is careful to say this does not mean United will sign him, but the insistence that his name will not go away until the club's business is done suggests he is firmly in the conversation as a midfield target. Given that midfield is the priority area, this is a name to watch very closely as the summer approaches. Morgan Rogers and why he does not fit United's needs. The account United Exclusive posted the following, quoting Nath Salt 1, quote, "Morgan Rogers, he is a piece that a lot of people think United like him, but where would he play? Off the left. Cunha, they really like there. And Dorgu as backup. 10, Bruno not going anywhere and do not need another 10. I think Morgan Rogers will be one of the best players available in the summer, but I do not think that is the correct use of United's resources. I know he is super high on Chelsea's list, and maybe they will move heaven and earth for him. I do not think United need that player. They need so much, but they do not need him." End quote. My analysis. This is clear and direct. Morgan Rogers is an elite-level talent who will attract enormous interest this summer. But the situation for Manchester United is that there is no obvious place in their system where he would add something they currently lack. Matheus Cunha is the preferred option on the left. Bruno Fernandes owns the number 10 position. Patrick Dorgu provides wide coverage. The reality for the club is that spending significant money on a player who does not fill a genuine gap would be poor resource management. And with Champions League qualification now secured and a summer rebuild underway, every pound spent needs to count. Chelsea apparently see Rodgers as a priority. United, based on this information, do not. That is not a slight on Rodgers. It is simply a reflection of what United's actual priorities are. United planning an aggressive summer window. The account Simply United posted the following, citing Jacob Ben in the United Stand. Quote, "Manchester United sources do not just feel that they are going to be aggressive in the market and strengthen. They also feel they are going to get that extra 10% out of many of the new signings from last summer heading into next season." End quote. My analysis, two separate points are being made here, and both are important. First, there is a genuine belief inside the club that this summer's transfer window will see real investment and real additions. That is not just optimism. It is a statement from sources inside the club. And with Champions League money now available, the financial capacity to back that up exists. Second, and this is perhaps the more underappreciated point, the club believes that several of last summer's signings have not yet shown their best. That makes sense when you consider that those players arrived under Ruben Amorim, adapted to a completely different style under Carrick, and are now heading into pre-season for the first time with a settled manager and a clear system. The development curve for a new signing at a new club is real. And if even a handful of those players take the next step in year two, the squad could look significantly stronger without spending a single pound. Marcus Rashford will not return to Manchester United. The account United Exclusive posted the following, quoting Nath Salt 1, quote, I do not see any possibility of Rashford playing for Manchester United again. I think that is done. I think it would be a really awkward situation for everybody if he had to come back, because I do not know what they would do with him from people I speak to. He is itching to not come back. I do not think there will be reintegration there. End quote. The image shows Rashford wearing a Barcelona kit. My analysis. The language here is as definitive as it gets without an official announcement. Multiple signals are pointing in the same direction. From the club's side, there is no clear role or appetite for his return. From the player's side, those close to him say he has no desire to go back. When both sides of a potential transfer are pushing away from the same outcome, the outcome becomes very simple. Marcus Rashford's time at Manchester United is over. This is not a rumour. This is a reading of a situation from someone with genuine access to both camps, and the evidence all points toward a permanent departure being confirmed at some stage this summer. That will mark the end of a chapter that started with enormous promise and ended with significant disappointment for all involved. Sunderland versus Manchester United. Match preview analysis. Now let us move into the match preview. And here I want to give you my full analytical breakdown of what is at stake and what we can expect. Manchester United arrive at the Stadium of Light, having already secured Champions League football for next season. That was confirmed following a 3-2 victory over Liverpool at Old Trafford, with Kobbie Mainoo scoring a late winner. That result was enormous. That result changed the direction of this club's trajectory. But the motivation to win against Sunderland is still very real. It is now clear that if Manchester United win this game, and if Liverpool fail to win their next fixture against Chelsea, United are guaranteed to finish third in the Premier League with 2 games still to play. Third place for a club that finished 15th last season. That is a staggering turnaround, and the credit for that must go to Michael Carrick and to the players who have responded to him so completely. Since Carrick arrived in mid-January, no team in the Premier League has accumulated more points, 32 points, from his time in charge. He has also won more league games during his tenure than the first 20 matches of the season produced under Ruben Amorim. Under Amorim, in those first 20 games, United won 8, drew 7 and lost 5. Under Carrick, United have won 10 of their league fixtures. That is a transformation, not an improvement. A complete transformation. Now, Michael Carrick has not yet been given the job on a permanent basis. That decision is still pending. He indicated this week that he expects the club to communicate their position before the end of the month. The situation is that every performance between now and the end of the season is essentially part of his application for that role. And the players themselves have been vocal in their support for him staying. From a tactical perspective, the Sunderland match presents specific challenges. Sunderland have been poor in recent weeks. Since beating Tottenham on the 12th of April, they have failed to win in 3 Premier League games, including a 5-0 home defeat against Nottingham Forest and a draw against bottom club Wolves. Their home form in particular has been worrying, with only 1 win in their last 5 home games. But what makes Sunderland dangerous despite that form is the crowd. The Stadium of Light will be sold out. This is a penultimate home game. The supporters will be desperate to send their team off well. And in those kinds of environments, individual quality can sometimes be overwhelmed by pure atmosphere and intensity. United cannot afford to be complacent. On team news, Lisandro Martinez returns from a 3-game suspension and is expected to take his place at centre-back alongside Harry Maguire. That is a significant upgrade on what United had available in his absence. Adin Heaven, who deputised, will now step aside. Luke Shaw continues at left-back. Benjamin Sesko, as we have already discussed, has travelled with the squad despite the shin injury concern picked up against Liverpool. He remains a minor doubt, but his presence is encouraging. Matthias de Ligt remains out with a back injury, so there is no change there. Bruno Fernandes, fresh from winning the FWA Footballer of the Year award, needs just 1 more assist to equal the all-time Premier League record for a single season. 20 assists. Think about that number. 20 assists in 1 Premier League campaign would be a record for the entire history of the competition. And he has 19 with 3 games to play. The record is right there. For Sunderland, Daniel Ballard begins a 3-match ban following his controversial red card against Wolves. Romain Mundal remains out with a hamstring injury. Nilson Angulo and Bertrand Traoré have returned to training after lengthy absences and could feature in the matchday squad. Either Luc Ornean or Sherel Garito Truda is expected to partner Omar Alderete at centre-back. Granit Xhaka, the Sunderland captain, is a player Manchester United will need to monitor carefully. He has scored more goals from outside the penalty area against United than any other player in history. 3 goals from distance against the Red Devils. That is a very specific threat that United's defensive shape needs to account for. The historical record at the Stadium of Light is firmly in United's favour. They have lost just one of their last 15 top-flight visits. 10 wins and 4 draws make up the rest. Sunderland have won only 3 of their 33 Premier League meetings with Manchester United. 24 of those 33 games have ended in Sunderland defeats. The predicted outcome from those who have studied this fixture is Sunderland 1, Manchester United 2, and that feels like a reasonable assessment. United have conceded in 8 of their last 10 league games, so Sunderland will back themselves to score. But the quality, the form, and the motivation of the visitors all point toward a narrow but convincing away win. Bruno Fernandes wins FWA Footballer of the Year. Full analysis. This story deserves its own dedicated analysis because of what it represents. Bruno Fernandes has won the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year award for the 2025-26 season. The FWA award is voted on by journalists across the entire football media landscape in England. These are professional observers who cover the game day in and day out across every club. Their vote carries significant weight. The competition this year included Declan Rice of Arsenal and Bernardo Silva of Manchester City. Both are outstanding players having excellent seasons, and yet Fernandes came out on top. That is a reflection of the consistency, the impact, and the sheer volume of decisive contributions he has made this campaign. In 32 Premier League appearances, he has scored 8 goals and registered 19 assists. Those numbers alone would make him a strong candidate. But what elevates him beyond numbers is the context. He has done this while carrying a team through a transition, while operating under a manager change, while adapting to different tactical roles, while serving as captain and leading a dressing room that was, not long ago, in serious difficulty. Michael Carrick spoke about the award with genuine feeling. He described Fernandes as fully deserving, noting that the FWA award is judged over a long period of time and that whoever wins it truly earns it. Carrick also made an important point when he said that Fernandes is not an individual award-driven player. He is a team player. He leads his group through his captain's armband, through his performances and through his standards every single day at training. It is now clear that Fernandes sits among the elite level players this Premier League has ever seen. He arrived in January 2020, and since that moment, he has been the single most consistent performer at the club through multiple managers, multiple systems, and multiple crises. The FWA award is recognition of that sustained excellence across not just this season, but across everything he has contributed. He is also now a strong contender for the Premier League Player of the Year award. With 3 games to play, the record for assists in a single season is 1 contribution away. If he gets that record, it becomes almost impossible to argue against him winning the league's individual prize as well. The last Manchester United player to win the FWA award was Wayne Rooney in 2009-10. 16 years separated those 2 moments, and in between, United had some of the greatest players ever to wear the shirt pass through Old Trafford. The fact that Fernandes is the one to break that drought tells you exactly where he stands in the modern game. Let me bring everything together for you now, because taken as a whole, today's news paints a very specific picture of where Manchester United are at this moment in time. On the pitch, the situation is one of genuine momentum. A team transformed under Michael Carrick. Champions League football secured, a possible 3rd place finish still available, a captain who has just won one of the most prestigious individual awards in English football, and a striker who travelled to face Sunderland despite injury concerns because he wants to be part of what this team is building. Off the pitch, the summer is being planned with structure and intelligence. The midfield is the priority area. Tyler Adams is a persistent name within those conversations. Ederson is back on the radar as a potential addition. Tchouameni is admired greatly but is not available at this moment. Morgan Rogers and Rafael Leao are not considered necessary investments despite the external noise linking them to the club. And Marcus Rashford's story at Old Trafford has come to its conclusion. What this all adds up to is a Manchester United that is finally moving in one clear direction. That has not been the case for years. And while there is still much work to do, the evidence from today's information suggests the foundation is being laid properly. This is Adam United analyst. If this breakdown gave you clarity on everything happening around the club right now, then this channel is where you need to be every single week. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will keep doing exactly this, going deeper, going further, and giving you the full picture every single time. See you at the next one.